Deadline Chapter 19. Coach was right. It wouldn't be brilliant to be discriminate in who I told, and that I should decide based on relationships. Cody and Dallas are a shoo-in. We disagree about on my parents. I don't want them broadsided when it hits, but at her worst, Mom is crazier than Daffy Duck, and at her saddest, she is the most guilty person in the world. It compromises my commitment to the truth, but if it feels self-protective. Plus, I'm not going to tell the world in general because there's no point. Mom and Dad aside, you gotta care enough that I'm here now for me to tell you I'm leaving. Meanwhile, I want to get back to living. I gotta tell you, I think Lambier may be a closeted bigot, and I don't think he keeps the closet door pulled all the way shut. It doesn't make sense he's fighting me so hard on this project unless he doesn't want Trout's response made public. Bottom line, racism is current. Bottomer line, all bigotry is current. Double bottom line, to seal the two, Malcolm X traveled as far down the road as anyone. Imagine if I could get the people of Trout, Idaho to pay attention to the beauty of that larger world. Got a legacy written all over it. Hey, Dallas is fixing pasta for Joe Henry as I come up behind her. Hey, she says back, what's up? Nothing much, I say, and reach into the colander to snag a couple strings of spaghetti. Want me to throw this against the wall for you? Nobody actually does that, she says. How come you're early? I thought you were going to let me put the booger eater to bed. Joe Henry's digging in his toy box for his baseball glove and wiffle ball. I've been preparing him for life as a jock. To my discredit, I have been doing it with the appearance of being around when he steps into that life. It is not going to be fun, but if I wait, I'll chicken out. I've got some bad news. She turns around. Lay it on me. Well, it's like, I'm dying. Me too. What's the news? Jesus, is everyone going to say that? No, I mean, I'm dying. I've got this blood disease. Her mouth actually drops open. What? What kind of blood disease? Aggressive, I tell her, quoting Doc again. I may only be good for most of this year. She leans against the sink. Joe Henry hands me the wiffle ball and stands waiting with the glove. Just a minute, Guy. I'll be with you in a sec. Oh my God, Ben. When did you find out? What are you going to do? Why aren't you in the hospital? Or, here comes the hard part. I've known since summer. That's why I went out for football, actually. Doc Wagner caught it when I went for my cross-country physical. She stares, and I know all of the conversations are running through her head. I can see the betrayal. I know this is going to sound stupid, I say, but it made sense. I mean, the minute Doc said it, I knew it was right, like something I had already knew, and just needing to verify one of those feelings. Oh, God, Ben, what about treatment? I mean, why aren't you bald or something? The specialist said it was as aggressive as he's ever seen, and there was a chance it would go into remission, but realistically, we could only buy a little time. I decided to play it out. I mean, I've been eating exactly right, and you aren't trying to beat it? Well, with nutrition and, but Dallas, I gotta tell you, treatment means a whole different kind of life, and probably only a little longer one. And it hits her. You knew you were dying when you started seeing me? I hang my head. I couldn't imagine that you'd like me, I said. I mean, there was no chance. I thought I could play. Knowing I was dying made me brave. But then you slept with me? And I told you and you still didn't say it? It seemed too late. God, this is worse than I ever thought. I've done something really shitty. In a low, calm voice, Dallas says, Get out of here. Dallas, come on. Go. Do not come back. You turn around and put that fucking ball down and get out of here. If you had heard her tone, you wouldn't argue with her either. I get in my pickup truck outside Dallas's house just to let it all wash over me. What in the world was I thinking? That was going to happen one way or the other, even if I decided to keep it quiet until I couldn't. There has to come a point when it isn't quiet. God, how am I going to make it through the rest of the time without her? How am I going to do that? She'll be at school, at games. She'll be pissed, won't talk. I mean, if you want to see resolve, you want to see Dallas Suzuki on the volleyball court or the basketball court. This is not how I envisioned the last half of my year playing out. She wasn't just falling for me. How outrageous does that sound? I was totally on my ass for her. This feels worse than dying. It's dark outside and cold. I mean, headed for freezing, and then way down below that, this big snow hasn't started yet, but the last of them will melt close to Easter. But it's not the Arctic. I can run in it, and football hero or no, running's my thing. Nothing lets me focus better than the even beat of my feet pounding dirt roads up around the lake. The house is quiet, and I quickly pull on my sweats and cover them with my Gore-Tex and slip out the back door. A glim light glows through Mom's window. She's lying there staring at the ceiling, probably wishing she could trade places with somebody like me. On this moonless night, the Milky Way spreads across the sky like a billion fiery marbles. If it weren't for potholes, the roads here would have no surface at all. So I run high on the left edge of the hard-packed snow to avoid them. Starting slow, worried my body might bail on me again. But in a mile or so, I'm into a slow pace, and in two, I'm wondering if other kids are like me. I don't mean other dying kids, and I know there are a lot of dying in a lot worse ways than I am. I don't have to watch too much CNN to know that, but I know if other kids try as hard as I do to figure out who they are and why they're here. Adults talk about how kids' brains aren't fully developed and we're like bulletproof psychopaths or something, but that's not true, at least not for me. Most of us just have a hard time putting things into words. I consider this road I'm running on bordering water for nearly 50 miles, frozen white just below the road's edge, riding back 20-some odd years, and these are Coach's feet pounding the dirt in the middle of the night, trying to soak up the meaning of life, when the most important one in his had been taken. It would have been spring, warmer, but he would have been staring up into the same Milky Way, asking the same questions I asked. How do we make it worth it? When Doc gave me the news, I thought it was all about me, but I was wrong. It's about me and everyone I touch. Looking back, I just wish I would have said it and told anyone who felt sorry for me that I would flatten their tires and run a pocket knife down the side of their car in the middle of the night if they patted my head even once. I reverse my direction and head for home. I'm going to need to be fresh in the morning to face Dallas, or not face Dallas. I've got to tell Cody before it leaks out. If he finds out from somebody else, my lifespan will be halved. It's not getting simpler. You can say that again. If you weren't so messed up, I would, Jesus says. What did you expect? Obviously, I didn't know. As usual, I don't think things out too far. Hey, I'm pissed at you. I thought if I told you the truth, it would get clearer. They are clear, he says. They just aren't easy. Man, I need you to walk me through this. That's why I'm here. I've been thinking about that. Why are you here? I mean, why now and why me? Because you can use the help and because you will take the help. And because giving to you and to all people like you is the best way to spread the truth. I'll have to digest that, I said. I went running tonight. I saw that. Wasn't it as cold as hell? That's just an expression. Yeah, but you know me, that's what I do. I'm not having a lot of luck getting things to turn out the way I want them to. You know what they say, if you want to give God a good laugh, tell him your plans. Well, I finally got it about telling the truth to everyone. So far, it's not much fun, but I got it. It's easier if you tell it in the first place. Yeah, I got that part too. You're not going to tell me how this turns out, are you? Like with Dallas and my brother? Nope, I told you, I don't know how it turns out. It would sure make things easier and more boring. What would be the point of life if you knew how everything turns out? Just remember, the more you act out of fear, the less you'll get done. Mid-January. The Malcolm X Avenue idea doesn't sit a lot better with the voters of our fair county, than it does with Lambier. I think I know why he's considered such a good teacher in these parts. Good morning, Mr. Gardner. I wondered if you would consider signing my petition to turn a street in our fair city into Malcolm X Avenue. Hey, Ben, how are you doing? What? Malcolm X Avenue. I'm doing a project for my current events class and thought Trout would look like seriously progressive if we took this diversity bowl by the horns. Malcolm X Avenue would be a great start towards that. Mr. Gardner looks over his glasses at me from behind the checkout counter at Gardner Supermarket. You're talking about Malcolm X, the black Muslim N-word. I wince. There's only one Malcolm X, I think. Got himself shot by a bunch of his own kind. That Malcolm X disrespected his people, giving up his last name for an X. That's the guy, I said. Ben, you made a lot of us proud on the football field this year. You really did. But if I were you, I'd let it go at that and keep this Malcolm X thing under your hat. He smiles. Oh, I get it. This is a joke, right? No, sir, no joke. So I can put you down as a maybe? At the end of my first foray, I have one signature on my petition. Ben Wolf.